What's up everyone, it is Dylan from Class 1A bringing you another My Hero Academia Vigilantes chapter breakdown. This week we have chapter 119, I'm Still Here. We pick back up in the number 6 versus Crawler fight. 6 has just blasted Koichi with a massive attack, and All For One is reveling in this, calling victory, maybe a bit too early. God, I just hate this dude so much. I mean, like, them painting All For One as his villain is just working out so well because, like, I can't stand him. I can't stand how smug he is all the time. Then we see number 6 as a kid trying to play with others, being only met with fear. He sits alone until he's approached by someone. And I think this is such a good representation of what number 6 has really gone through up until this point. Like him growing up as a kid under All For One. And yeah, this is like all he really wanted was just to belong, to feel like a person, and just being rejected by everyone around him. Now, don't get me wrong, he's absolutely insane, but like his motivations are grounded in reality here. Back in the fight, Koichi is not out of it yet. He's broken, he's busted, and he should be well past death. But he is still here. Friends, I don't think he's gonna last. I don't think he's gonna last too much longer. But like honestly, like Koichi's just so incredible to watch in these fights. It like literally cut like Ratatouille meme right now, like blasting me back to Toonami, watching DBZ and seeing Goku just fight like every last ounce he has left in him, and that's what I feel like just looking at Koichi here, because like he's on his last leg and he's still pulling through, and it's so hyped to watch. Koichi then talks about his views being a hero. How he's always been driven towards villains yelling out because it's where people needed saving. But that cry is also the villains asking to be helped too. And then we cut over to that figure standing over number 6. And it was Koichi who is here for him as well. And like, how can you not love Koichi at this point? I mean, I just love seeing like him and Deku and their views on what it means to be a hero. Because like, yeah, you should be saving people. It's not about fame, it's not about glory or money or anything like that. It's about saving people. And not just the innocent, everybody, villains included. And like obviously like this isn't like literally happening, like it didn't happen in the past of like Koichi and number 6 interacting. No, like that's not the case. They're just kind of driving the metaphor of like what they really feel, because at the end of the day, I think their feelings are pretty pure. Like the way they view the world is like that through a child's eyes, of like it's not like dripping in cynicism, or like they're not jaded by all this stuff that's happened. It's like, no, like Koichi just wants to save people and be a hero. It's as simple as that. There's no deeper meaning there. It's just his natural drive. And even number 6, he just wants to be a hero, and he just wants to have an identity. We then end the chapter cutting back and forth between number 6 and Koichi fighting in their final stages in real life, and then them again as kids, play fighting with their favorite heroes. Alright, clip it here. This is it. This is another moment. Like this, when this gets animated, is gonna cause millions of people to just leave the episode sobbing. Like there's just so much emotion and energy like behind this scene. Like I love it so much, and Furahashi's like taken these characters and really made them their own, and honestly I think they're gonna be able to stand like on their own as like their own anime, and people are gonna love it. It's gonna be great, and this scene is gonna be one of those pivotal moments. Okay, and so now I just want to go a little bit and like bring it out a little bit into like the abstract, into talking about themes and whatnot, because we didn't have a lot that happened this chapter, but I think it's really important to the theming of My Hero, not just My Hero Vigilantes, but My Hero overall. Now, I'm not really going to spoil anything major, so I'm going to talk about the main series, but like honestly, like the stuff that's happening right now is so abstract, like it's totally fine. So even if you're not caught up, nothing's gonna get ruined or spoiled for you. Like you're totally safe here. But I would absolutely advise that you should be reading My Hero proper week by week as well, because it just pairs so nicely with this. Furuhashi is either like copying, or he's like ultimately collabing with Horikoshi on this, because it just lines up so perfectly. The stuff that happens in the main series and happens here week by week is different, but the theming is just hitting each other so well. And what I mean by that is, last week in My Hero proper, what we got was a view of League of Villains, right? So we had Deku and Uraka's thoughts on Shigaraki and Toga, on how they view them and they see them as these terrible people who have done objectively bad things, but they're still people needed to be saving. Deku really just sees Shigaraki as this like scared kid, which yeah, he kind of is. Like he is a victim to society and victim to all his circumstances, and he wants to save that person. But he also knows saving that person is defeating the villain that is Shigaraki too. And I think we're getting that here a lot with Koichi and the way that he views villains. Like Koichi's viewing these villains as like people who need to be stopped, but also people who need to be saved as well, because that is what makes a hero. It's like you're not just saving the innocent, or you're not just saving random civilians, you're saving everybody, and that includes villains. They need to be saved too. And then you have this interesting like push and pull of like these people who have done very bad things, but they do need saving because like they are like victims of their own circumstances in a way too. Because I mean, if you look at number 6, like think about the landscape he's been thrown into, right? Like he was taken as a kid, stripped of his identity, mentored by All For One, who's taught him just all the wrong things, like literally just told him incorrect things and drove him into insanity, made him essentially a Nomu, and then threw him out into the world. Like, yeah, of course he's going to be a villain. Of course he's going to do things wrong. Of course he is going to be insane at this point. Like, like you're not going to be able to like detach that away from him. Like he still did the things that he did, but he's ultimately still a victim to All For One here. And I just love reading them side by side, like My Hero proper and Vigilantes, because when you read them, they're just oozing with these themes, and they line them up so well that like these are taking place years apart, like with completely different characters. Like there are some like All For One that like stays with them, but for the most part they're just different characters, and like you can feel the rhyming, you can feel the themes sticking together, and I think that just makes it all the more better reading them side by side, of where you're gonna be able to finish this series and you're gonna be able to finish the main series, and you're gonna come away with these big ground posted themes that line up together so well that's gonna paint the story of My Hero for the better overall. And I don't know, like the way they've laid everything out, it's amazing. It's so good, and like it's hard to detach the series away from each other because they hinge on each other so well. Of like, I even think like if you're reading My Hero proper, you should be reading Vigilantes as well, because they just pair together so well and they make each other better series. So like if you're not reading both of them, highly recommend reading both of them. Horikoshi is a master of writing. His writing style is similar to this, of where it might feel a little slow, not a lot going on with each chapter, but just take it in, read it, absorb it, because they're building the building blocks of just a perfectly well executed series, of where it has its flaws, it's not the best week by week, but if you take it in its entirety, it's an incredible story. But that's just my tangent on the themes and whatnot of My Hero and what I'm thinking of on right now. Like that's just like the big thing I've been taking away from this chapter and been sitting with. But let's talk about what happens from here. And honestly, like I think we kind of know where this is going. I think they're painting like some things around it, but essentially like, yeah, we're gonna get Koichi and friends kind of saving the day, stopping number 6. Obviously, they're not gonna stop All For One or anything like that, but I think the important thing that is going to happen is Koichi's probably gonna die, and I think he might go out by saving number 6, and not save in the way of like he's gonna redeem him and number 6 is gonna live on after this. Of like, no, not that at all, but more of the fact of I think he's going to sacrifice himself to stop number 6 from causing any more destruction here. And like I can just see it already of like the final chapters of like them like kind of like going to like this spiral, destroying each other, and then like cutting between like them as kids playing together. Like I could see this being the end for them. And the way that they painted number 6 is just so accurate, of like he's a big flame and big flame burns out or whatnot. But I think that's also true for Koichi here, of like he's never burned brighter in this entire series, and I think he's gonna burn out here too. And I know it might seem like doom and gloom and whatnot, but like this is setting up to save the day, to save Pop, and to save a lot of the Naruhata crew that we've been living with for so long and that we've grown to love. And there might be some bittersweetness in the end of the series, but it's building up to this insane climax that is going to be incredible. But we will just find out in 2 weeks when the next chapter drops. I hope you're enjoying the series as much as I am, because I am loving talking about this every 2 weeks and being able to share my thoughts with you all, and hearing your thoughts in the comments below of like how you feel about the series, because it is incredible. It is just so good, and I cannot wait for the next one, and I hope you're there too. So make sure you subscribe, and I will see you all next class.